Learning about storytelling by analyzing the films that came before us is our favorite way to improve as storytellers ourselves. Today we are going to be looking at the break into Act 3. This is the end of your Act 2 and the event that gets the ball rolling into Act 3. This is where your A story and your B story come together with your hero obtaining the solution to the problem. Today we're going to be analyzing the genre of crime. Let's begin with Clue.
You recognized Yvette, didn't you? Don't deny it.
What do you mean, don't deny it? I'm not denying anything.
Another denial.
For context, our group of characters has been brought here because they are all being blackmailed by Mr. Body. Because of the murders that occur over the course of the night, the butler forces them to stay to uncover the identity of the murderer. The murders begin with Mr. Body, and over the course of Act 2, they search the house to try to figure out who did it, but in doing so, uncover more bodies. These very untrustworthy people become more suspicious of each other as the night goes on.
So you could be the murderer.
Don't be ridiculous. If I was the murderer, why would I reveal to you how I did it?
Well, who else knew about the secret passage?
We found it, Colonel Mustard and me.
You found it. You could have known about it all the time.
But I didn't. Well, why should we believe you?
They also uncover the reasons why they are being blackmailed by Mr. Body. There are 6 deaths that occur over the course of the night, and the final discovery leads us into the break. For storytelling purposes, each blackmailed character has murdered the person essential to their blackmailing, and Wadsworth can now reveal who the murderers are.
Very well. I know who did it.
You do?
And furthermore, I'm going to tell you how it was all done.
Wadsworth ushers us into Act 3 by promising the answers we, and the characters, are looking for. This break into Act 3 takes us from a frightened search for the murderer to a hilarious revelation of the truth. Next up, Ocean's 11. Danny Ocean has assembled a crew for a seemingly impossible job.
You think we need one more? You think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more.
They have spent the second act setting up their cons in preparation for this night. With a boxing match as the perfect distraction, they start the heist, each of them playing their roles. Up until this point, Danny has been out of the game thanks to Terry Benedict, their main nemesis. Danny is able to get back into the game by using Benedict's own plan against him. With all of our players set up and in position, the story can now break into the third act. They do this by cutting power to Las Vegas, which allows them to get through the elevator shaft undetected. This also starts the clock on Benedict figuring out that something is off, injecting tension back into the story for the audience and playing right into the hands of the 11.
Livingston, we're set.
Livingston, we're set.
Basher, we're set.
Hang on a minute, Chief.
This is where we start to see how the plan is all coming together. The ball is rolling towards the inevitable collision between Danny and Benedict, with Tess, Danny's wife, watching.
What happened, Benedict? Did you get robbed or something?
Stop.
And finally, Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. In this classic thriller, James Stewart, a photojournalist, is stuck at home in a wheelchair with a broken leg. With nothing else to do, he spends his days and nights watching the comings and goings of his neighbors. After some particularly suspicious behavior, James begins to suspect one of his neighbors of murder. He spends the second act trying to convince Grace Kelly, Stella, his nurse, and a detective friend of the murder.
You didn't see the killing or the body? How do you know there was a murder?
Every theory James presents is brought down by the detective's actual investigation. James's confidence is slowly chipped away until he is just about ready to give up, just in time for the break into Act 3. With the scream, the whole courtyard comes to a halt as everyone comes to their windows to see the murdered dog. Everyone, that is, except the suspected murderer. James points this out to Grace, and their suspicions are renewed, sending them headfirst into the third act with a plan.
You know, for a minute, that Tom Doyle almost had me convinced I was wrong.
But you're not.
Look, in the whole courtyard, only one person didn't come to the window. Look.
These are a few examples of how to break into the third act, by having a specific event that definitively ends your second act and gets your story rolling into Act 3.